This week, we're going to be adding a background, middle ground, and foreground, as well as cutting out our pet. For this assignment, you're going to need a blue paper for the background, a green paper for the foreground, a brown paper, and either one or all of these colors, orange, yellow, and red, for the middle ground. So let's start with the background and our pet. Actually, I take that back. We'll start with the background and the middle ground, because the pet has to go over that. This is my background. It's going to be blue. I'm going to add some trees into this space. The trees should go from top to bottom. So we're going to take our brown paper and we're going to cut it the short way across. I want you to make either 3 or 5 or 7 trees. We're going to work with odd numbers. For some reason, odd numbers look better and more interesting than even numbers. So I'm going to cut just straight lines. They could be real skinny or they could really be wide, but I'm going to do one of each. There, I have a wide tree, a thin tree, and a medium tree. So I'll just put that wide one right in the middle. This one's going to go on this side, and this one's going to go on this side. And I'm going to glue them in place. You can do dots. That works very well. Then I put it down. Look at no glue squirting out. You can do lines. But I do thin lines, just go really fast. Make sure your cap's open all the way, there we go. Oops, if it gets a big glob like that, use the side corner to spread it out. Try not to get glue all the way up on the edge, otherwise it's going to squeeze out when you push it down. These are my tree trunks. One more. This one I'm just going to run right down the middle. And that's just enough to hold it in place. Now for my tree tops. Since it's fall, I chose these colors. These are my hot colors or my warm colors. Fall trees are usually turning color right now. And these are some of the colors you might see. So I'm going to do one of each since I have 3. And actually, I'm going to cut all 3 at the same time, so I'm going to stack them like this. Now, these aren't that big. Look how big my paper is. So I don't need to use up my whole paper. So the first thing I'll do is cut a small square out of all 3 at the same time. It's a good way to save time. And I need to decide, do I want like pointy trees? Those don't usually change color, but you can. Or do I want rounded trees? I'm going to go with rounded because that's what I want to do. And I'm going to kind of go like, make nice curvy lines all the way around this. I don't want square trees. If you're Dr. Seuss, you might make purple and pink trees, like truffula trees. Alright, I'm going to put one on each tree, and I'm going to have them go right off the top of my paper. You don't have to, you could bring them down like that, but I think it's kind of fun to bring them right off the top. So, I gotta make sure if it's going off the top, I don't want glue going off the top, only where it's sticking to the paper. So we have this one down, this one's going to be up higher, and this one, let's see, this one I'll put kind of in the middle. There. Now I have my 3 treetops. Now I'm ready to cut out my pet. So, first thing I want to do is kind of rough cut it. Carefully though, I don't want to cut it off, but I'm leaving some white around where I cut. Ultimately, that will make it easier to cut because you won't be handling so much paper. All right, I'm going to tip this back a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. All right, now I'm going to cut. Now I colored right outside of the line, so I need to make sure I cut off any coloring I did that went outside of the lines. Nice clean cut along the back. The trick to making nice clean cuts is making long cuts. So I'm slowly closing my scissors. I'm not doing lots of little snips. When you do lots of little snips, you get lots of little snips. And you end up with rough little pieces sticking out all over. I still haven't really closed my scissor. I'm going around that leg. I know when I was a kid, I used to like cutting out pictures from magazines, and I tried to get as close to the edge of whatever it was I was cutting out as possible, which isn't as easy as you'd think, because in a magazine picture, there aren't hard edges. Things kind of blur into the background sometimes. Sometimes you have to be a little creative with how you cut. But that was probably really good practice for me as far as being good at cutting goes. All right, I'm almost finished. I'll come up this way with the tail. And instead of turning around there, I'm going to come up from this side of the leg, and I'll meet that cut at the top, because that's going to be a little easier. I'm almost finished. You know, you should never worry too, if something's difficult for you or hard, good. That's how we get better at something. This is all we do here at school, and every class you do, it's all practice for when you're older. So in order to get better at it, you just have to do the practice. All right. There's my kitty cat, ready to go for a nice walk in the woods with all the changing colors. Get that, got some loose crayon chunks there. All right, so I want to get my cat right about here. So I'm going to glue him down, or her, I don't know. Actually, both of my cats are girls. But I don't think you can really tell what kind of, if a cat's are a boy or a girl by just looking at it. They don't look any different, really. All right, now my cat's down. So let me explain something to you. The blue is the background with the trees. The blue and the trees, that's the background. My cat is the middle ground. Now I said we were going to make a foreground. That's going to go right here in front of the cat. We're going to make some grass. So first thing I want to do is cut a strip of green. And that's going to go down here like that. But I don't want it to be flat. I don't want it to look like the cat's on like some weird golf course. I want to make it nice and textured. So I'm going to do something. You can cut little pieces like that, and then you can bend them so it looks like it has some kind of texture to it, like real grass. You can cut little sharp angles like that. Or you can do a combination of both of those things. The one thing you have to be careful is not to cut all the way through, otherwise it's going to fall apart. Here's the trick I do. Instead of doing every single cut, I fold my paper, and then I do my cuts. This way I'm cutting 4 times faster than I would be if I just cut it one piece at a time. See all those pieces falling out? There. Now, I have some grass. I want to match these up, so I'm going to cut these into points now, so it looks the same. And I can put this right in front of my cat, so it looks like it's kind of walking in the grass. That would be, if I do that though, if I put my cat in front of the cat's in the foreground and the grass is in the middle ground. If I put the grass over my cat, the cat is in the middle ground and the grass is in the foreground. So I'm going to put my grass in the foreground. So it looks like my cat's kind of in the grass, not on the grass. And I want to make sure I cover up everything at the bottom, so I don't want any trees sticking out or the blue. And then I got tucked his little feet back under there. There. Now my cat's kind of in the grass. Get under there, you little foot. And get that little tail under there too, buddy. There. Now my cat's in the grass, hiding out, waiting for something so he can pounce on it. All right, that is what it should look like when it's finished. This will probably take you 2 classes to finish the whole thing. So don't lose any parts, and cut your animal out close to the last thing. Make sure you have enough time, because you don't want to lose your animal after you cut it out. You want it to be part of this whole complete picture. Once you're done, I want you to open up the lesson in Seesaw and click Add Response, take a picture, and turn it in. All right, I'll see you next week.